Hi guys, Super Secret Tech here. I'm going to do a little M14 draft preview for everybody. I'm going to go over green today. The first card in green is Advocate of the Beast. It's 2 and a green, it's a common. It's a 2/3 creature. And at the beginning of your at the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on target beast creature you control. Um, it's pretty bland unless you're playing beasts. If it's beast, you're probably going to get it at the middle of the pack. Um, if you're not playing the beast deck, you're probably going to pick this up very, very late. And there should be a lot of them available pretty late. The next card's Bramble Crush, 2 green green and it's uncommon. It's sorcery, speed, non-creature removal. It's a fine sideboard card, but you don't want to pick this early at all. This is a fine late pick, but I would almost never pick this early or middle of the draft. The next one is Briarpack Alpha. It's 3 and a green. It's uncommon. It's flash, and it has when it enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, and it's a 3/3. This is a really good combat trick on a creature. Um, you know, just kind of depending on the deck that you're in, this could be a high, this could be a mid, or this could be a low pick. Um, I want to go safe and say mid, but if I get if I'm really, really creature heavy, I might pick this guy a little bit higher. Packs 2 or 3. The next card is Brindlebore. It's 2 and a green. It's a 2/2. You sacrifice him, you gain 4 life. It's a fine late pick. Um, the main thing to be wary of is don't trap yourself and pick this guy high in a life gain deck. He's not that good in that deck. There's a lot better cards. Deadly Recluse, 1 and a green. It's a common. It's a 1/2 reach with Death Touch. It's fine late, uh, but this isn't one of those cards you're going to want to pick up early unless you're playing like the green-white control uh, or green-blue mill. This is a card that you're going to want to wait on. If you're playing that deck, you might want to pick it a little bit higher. Elvish Mystic, basically the reprint of Llanowar Elves, except it's singular instead of plural, and which is a little more flavorful. 1/1 green, it's fine. It's not great, it's not bad. If you're trying to ramp, you might pick this guy a little bit higher, but he's a solid late pick or a mid pick. Enlarge, target creature gets +7/+7 and gains trample until end of turn, and it must be blocked. Um, if it was instant speed, this would be a high pick for me. Since it's not, it's kind of a low pick. Even though I do really like the artwork on this card. Um, it's just too easy to answer. It'd be good for the sideboard if they don't have much removal to board it in against somebody. Fog, this card's just good in certain decks, and it's bad in others. Um, it's a great sideboard card. If you see these late, definitely pick them up, but I wouldn't fight tooth and nail to get them early. Gary, Caller of the Beast. This guy's really, really good in limited, and he's probably even better in constructed. Just for the +1 is why he's good in limited. The reveal the top 5 cards of all creature cards. Reveal the top 5 cards. Put all creature cards in your hand, and the rest on the bottom of any library, in any order. The number 3, I don't think we'll ever see playing limited, but it'll see playing constructed. And then the emblem. I just put emblem at badassery because it's pretty good. Um, but it says whenever you cast a creature spell, you may search your library for a creature card, put that onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. And that's every single time. So this guy is a wild pair, but a lot better. Garrick's Horde. Uh, Trample, play at the top card of your library field. You may cast the top card if it's a creature. Note it's not cast for free, so you still have to pay for it. So this card's fine. It's not super exciting, but it's fine. You'll probably pick Garruk pretty high. The Horde, just depending on it. This is a fine mid pick. It would be okay, a high pick, but I'd rather have removal than it. Giant Growth, fine combat trick. It's a fine late game pickup. Depending on your deck, you might even want to pick it mid pack. Giant Spider, really good sideboard tech. It really helps out against the, if you're like mono green, or if you're like green red. It really helps deal with flyers, but it's not a high pick at all. Gladecover Scout, 1/1 hexproof. This guy can be really good. There's a lot of good enchantments. Um, depending on the deck. It's either a mid pick or a late pick. If you're playing the enchantment deck, it's mid to high. Just because it's really good in that deck. If you're not playing that deck, it's probably a late pick at best, because you're not going to get the utilization out of it. Ground Shaker Sliver, 6 and a green. It's a common. Sliver creatures you control have trample and it's a 5/5. This guy is really, really strong in the Sliver deck, even though it's expensive. Trample can really push you over the limit. Um, but it's very conditional. If you're in the Sliver deck, it's probably a mid pick. If you're not, it's probably a late pick at best. Howl of the Night Pack. This is again one of those, like, in the right deck, this card is a bomb, and it can even be like a first pick worthy. Um, However, in most, it's going to be a late pick at best. Hunt of the Week. Um, I really like this card. It's solid removal for green because it makes your creature better, and then you can choose which one it fights. Put your best creature against their best creature, and you get a +1/+1 counter. And you get to remove their best creature. That's a great card. I'd pick this pretty high for green. Into the Wilds, 3 and a green. This probably has more constructed playability than it does have draft ability. But it's still okay in draft if you're going for like the big mana deck, because it gets you an extra land, possibly every turn. But it's very conditional. It's okay. Don't pick it high. But if you get it like mid to late, it's fine. And I'd probably pick it late. Let the rare drafters have that one. Uh, Clonian Hardred. Trample. It enters the battlefield with 4 +1/+1 counters on it, and when it attacks, double the number of +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. This guy is a bomb. Do not pass this creature. If you pass this creature, you're wrong. 99.9% of the time. The fact that he costs 5, and the first time he's swinging, he's an 8/8, and it doubles every single time, and he has trample. This guy's just going to end games. Um, I mean, even if it's not in your color, pick it up just so someone doesn't play it against you. It's that good of a card. Clonian Tusker. Uh, it's a 3/3 for 2. If it's in your colors, it's a fine mid pick, and it's also a fine late. Sometimes you'll get something like this late, and when you do, especially if you're in the green, it's a really, really good pickup. Lay of the Land, really late draft card, guys. Even though it can fix your mana, it doesn't put it into the battlefield. So it just puts it in your hand. So it's not mana acceleration, it's just a mana fixing card. You would rate this really, really low in draft, unless you're trying to play like slivers. If I was slivers and I saw this card, I probably wouldn't let it go past me. But anything else, you're going to really want to wait on it. It'll probably come back around. It's not that good. Mana Sliver. Okay, if you're trying to pick slivers, this is an instant pick. This guy is completely necessary to get slivers online and working correctly. And the more of these guys you have, the better your deck's going to be. This card's just huge for slivers. It's a 1/1, but just the ability of adding the mana and getting the mana fixing for every sliver creature you control. So the turn you play him, you might be able to play another sliver. He's just really, really good value. But if you're not playing slivers, he's still okay. Like, he's not that bad of a creature. And it might be worth hating him out just to keep the sliver deck off of it. Magnetic Sliver, this guy's a fine bomb. He's not super, super exciting. You're not going to pick this guy over like a Sarah, Sarah Angel or anything like that. But, if he's the best creature in your pack, especially if you are slivers, he's a fine pickup. I'd still choose removal over him, but he's a fine card. Naturalize, one for the sideboard. It's fine late pick. Don't pick it early. Uh, Oath of the Ancient Wood. It's enchantment. When it or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, You may put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Especially if you have the Hydra, this card is really, really good. Or in the enchantment deck, and you had the Hexproof guy, this guy's really, really good. And it just depends. If you want to dedicate to the enchantment deck, this is a high pick. If not, it's a low pick. Plummet, destroy target creature with flying, probably the best removal in green. Pretty high on my pick list. Predatory Sliver, sliver creatures you control get +1/+1. You know, it's just the modified Muscle Sliver. It's a good pick. If you're in the Sliver deck, it's a pretty high pick. If you're not in the Sliver deck, it's still pretty good. It's a 2/2 for 2. Probably a mid pick if you're not in Slivers. Um, Primeval Bounty is an I win card. Don't pass this card either. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a 3/3 creature token onto the battlefield, which is huge and limited. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put 3 counters on target creature you control. Again, huge and limited. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Again, huge and limited. If you cast this card and you lose the game, there's something wrong with you. And limited, like this card's an absolute powerhouse. I would pick this over a Garuk if they were able to be in the same pack. Like I guess if you had a foil one, I would pick this over him. This card just really says I win, especially if you're heavy green. And you should go heavy green if you get that card. Ranger's Guile. Green, target creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn in hexproof. It's fine counter and save a creature card. You know, depending on your deck, it's either going to be mid or late pick. You know, for most people, it's going to be a late pick. For the right deck, it'll be a mid pick. Root Wall, you know, kind of just a generic creature here. 2/2 for 3 that you can pump. It's fine, don't pick it early, but it's fine late game. And, you know, it might even make your deck. Rumbling Baloth, 4/4 for 4. It's a solid vanilla creature as well. The fact that it's 2 green makes it less splashable. Pick it late, don't pick it early. Savage Summoning, this card's awesome. It's even better in Constructed than it is in Draft, and it's pretty good in Draft. Savage Summoning can't be countered. The next creature you cast gets Flash. It can't be countered, and it comes into play with a +1/+1 counter on it. Just huge swing of events. Make sure you're casting a good creature with this card. Don't cast just the next creature you draw. You know, you want to save this for your really good creatures and make them even better. Especially against mono blue. Like, you know, throwing out your bomb, it can't be countered and it gets a +1/+1 counter is pretty big. Scavenging Ooze, this is a legacy staple. It'll probably soon be a modern staple. Just because it really has great interaction against Tarmogoyf. Just be very careful with this card. It's not as good in Draft as it is in Constructed. It's still a good card, but it's not the powerhouse in Draft it is in Constructed. You know, if there's not like really good removal, I'll probably pick this card up just because of the value of the card, but it shouldn't be a high pick otherwise. Like if there's good removal, pick that first. Sporemond, 3 green. It's a fungus. When you play land, you poop out a token. It's fine. It's good. You know, residual effect, but you know, it's a mid pick at best. You know, if you see it late, you'll probably be pretty happy. Trollhide. I put Rawhide because it just every time I see the artwork on this, it makes me think of the Rawhide song. It's 2 and a green. Creature gets +2/+2, and it has Regenerate. With Hexproof, this card is insane. Without Hexproof, it's kind of risky, but it's still pretty decent. In the enchantment deck, especially if you get a Scout, this is a really high pick. Otherwise, it's a mid to a late pick. This card's really versatile depending on what deck you're playing. You know, if you're playing aggro, it's probably mid. If you're playing anything but aggro or the enchantment deck, you're not going to want to pick this card up unless it's just a hate out. Vastwood Hydra, while it's not as good as the other one, you can get into play a lot earlier, and when it dies, it has a really cool effect that you can distribute the counters any way you want to. Again, the 2 Hydras together are really, really good. But even, playing this guy for 2 or 3 uh, is okay, but you really want to play him big. Um, one of the other things to consider when you're looking at the Hydra is that, if there's good removal, I pick it first, but otherwise this is a fine card. It's a good mid pick. Variant Haven. This card, it's mana fixing, and you gain 2 life, which if you really need mana fixing that bad, it's fine late pick. But this card really shouldn't make your deck. It's a sign of a weak deck if it's in your deck, unless you're playing like 5 colors. Ferocious Worm. I like this card. It's really good in the life gain deck, um, because of the ability where it gets the +1/+1 counters for the life gain. Like this with Archangel is just ridiculous. Um, and so that's something to consider too. Like it has a really good synergy with the life gain deck, and green and white do with a couple of cards have really good synergy with the life gain deck. But Brindlebore's still a trap. So that's all, folks. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time for the next draft set. And I don't know which one color